The Bulls are building off their big win over Army. Coming up on this week's edition of UB Football Insider, we'll look back at the big victory over the Black Knights. We'll preview today's game against the Boston College Eagles, and we'll tell you why every Bulls fan's favorite movie is Shrek 6. It's all coming up on UB Football Insider. So here it is, Adam Mitchison with the 33-yard field goal attempt to win it. Snap, spot, kick on the way, and it is good! And the Bulls have won it in overtime. Buffalo 23, Army 20. The entire Buffalo team goes and mobs Mitchison all the way back at the 20-yard line. What a comeback! The Bulls have their first win of the year. Well, I think I've calmed down now a little bit. I'm not sure if Coach has calmed down after the big win over Army, but we welcome in UB head coach Lance Leipold. We're a few days removed now, almost a week from the big win over Army, but it was such a significant victory, Lance, that we want to look back on some of the things that made it all happen. And the first thing I want you to talk about is how much of a confidence boost this was for your team. Starting 0-2, facing a team that was undefeated and had captured the hearts and minds of college football, and you sent them back to West Point with a loss. How much did that help your team?
Well, I think it helped us a lot, and we'll see today and how we play against Boston College. We'll tell the true story. But I think where we were at, the opening game loss, open week, it just kind of kept hanging for a while, and then going out to Nevada and losing there. So it gives us a chance to build some confidence, come from behind, a lot of things that hopefully this team will build on.
As we all look back on the win, I think something that jumped out at us, all of us, was the game plan that you had ready for Army. And that's a credit to your coordinators, Coach Borland on defense, Coach Kodolnicki on offense. Defensively, you shut down what they wanted to do, which is the fullback runs. And offensively, it was a game plan created to get Tyree Jackson confidence and momentum and your offense moving. Talk a little bit about all the hard work that the staff put in.
Well, our staff, I'm very proud of them. They work extremely hard each and every week. But in this game, there's a lot that goes into it. The Army preparation started last spring. It continued through the summer. A lot of different things that we looked at. And one of the things was that we're going to have to slow down the fullback and take that away the best we could. But the thing the whole time was that stats were not going to be the story. It was the big play, trying to cut down on time of possession. And some of that didn't always go the way we wanted to, but in the last quarter and a half, things really turned for us off defensively. And on the offensive side, we wanted to get Tyree some throws. They played some looser coverage than Nevada did early in the game. We wanted to get some completions, get them in rhythm, give them some confidence, and as the game went on, take some deep shots.
Defensively, it was a complete team effort, but there were a couple of guys that jumped out, including some of the guys like Jarrett Franklin with a career-high tackle, Khalil Hodge with another monstrous tackle game. I thought Brandon Crawford played as well as we've seen him play in his entire UB career. Those guys raised their game a little bit. Where did that come from?
Well, I think you mentioned three that had excellent football games. Brandon Crawford played extremely hard. You need your linebackers to have stats like that, days like that against option teams. And again, for Khalil Hodge to be in his third game as a starting middle linebacker at FBS school, I think he continues to get better and better. Jared Franklin missed last season. He's getting back in the swing of it. And I think one other player that really showed up for us in the game was Brandon Williams. I thought he had an excellent game as well. But the defense as a whole is starting to feel more confident in what we're doing. We're getting more settled into our rotations, and hopefully that's going to pay dividends as we approach conference.
Offensively, you touched on it a little bit, and think about it this. It's fourth quarter comebacks are always one of the ultimate gauges of a quarterback's success, and you're a goal line fumble away from Tyree having led two of them in his first three starts. What did you learn about Tyree and his ability to lead your team to 17 fourth quarter and overtime points?
Well, I think the one thing is that he's not going to worry about the score. He's going to keep competing, and he's not going to get rattled, and he's a true competitor. And as you mentioned, the first game, game and what happened there. I think one of the things is he's always going to stay aggressive in what he's doing, and he's going to continue to get better with those situations as his career goes on.
Are you starting to learn what he does well, what he's comfortable at, what the right things and situations to put him in are now through 3 games?
Yeah, I think we continue to learn each and every day with him and what he's comfortable with, and we're giving him input on what he is comfortable with. Andy does that all the time with him. What do you want to open the game with? And we kind of collaborate with them on that. But as we know, when we get into certain teams and people are going to keep trying to throw different wrinkles, disguising things. And again, he'll continue to develop and grow as we go through this season.
What are some of the things you want to see from him over the next couple of weeks here?
Well, again, great ball security is number one for us. And I thought he had an excellent game with that. There was one, tipped interception and things. But again, making good decisions, getting us, be the leader that we want, take command of the offense, and continue to give us something in the run game, and I think he's got the ability to do all those things.
All right, well, how does Tyree, the Bulls offense, and the rest of the UB squad stack up against today's opponent, the Boston College Eagles from the ACC? We come back with Coach LEIPOLD here on UB Football Insider to preview today's game against Boston College. That is next.
Celebrate One Buffalo Day at UB Stadium on October 8th when the Bulls host MAC rival Kent State for their annual homecoming game. Fans be sure to arrive early for Stampede Square and a tailgate concert by legendary rocker Eddie Money. It's a fun-filled day the whole family is sure to enjoy. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m., but the excitement starts at 12:30. For tickets, call 877-UB-THERE or visit ubbulls.com. It's football, tailgating, live music, and a day celebrating One Buffalo.
Tenacity, ambition, purpose. Here, it's not just what we do, it's how we do it.
This segment of UB Football Insider with Lance Leipold is brought to you by Town BMW, the official automotive partner of UB Athletics.
Great images, Coach, of the win over Army last week. Working on trying to get the same montage ready for next week's show with a win over Boston College. When you step up to play a Power 5 team, what do you want to learn about your own team?
Well, again, I think it still comes down to the smallest things that you have to do each every game, and that's execute the fundamentals, have great ball security, be solid in special teams, try to make it a fourth quarter game, and find a way to pull it out.
The BC Eagles play in the ACC. They are 2-2 so far this season. Losses to Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, wins over UMass, and last week a big one over Wagner. They are a defensive-oriented team, Lance. They were number 1 in the country in total defense last year. They've only dropped to number 6 this year, so I guess we start with their defense and describe what it is that they do so well.
Well, it's an experienced group that plays extremely physical. They're fundamentally sound. They do a great job really in the middle of that defense, shutting down the run. And I think we've talked many times, Paul, about if you can make teams one-dimensional, then you have a chance to kind of unleash your blitz game and do different things. And they do a nice job there. They're very solid out at the corner spot, too, which you can put some guys out on an island, get your safeties more involved in the run game. And they've got a couple excellent safeties that can play run and pass.
Your Bulls are second in the country in stopping the pass. The BC Eagles are 8th in the country in stopping the pass. So that's a bit of a strength versus strength matchup this week. 2 key players for Boston College, and you mentioned them. Matt Milano, the outside linebacker, John Johnson, the safety, both NFL prospects, both very athletic and versatile players. What's the challenge does that present to you?
Well, we got to get bodies on them. And they're, like you said, they're very athletic, physical players. Both play the run and pass well. And again, it's be able to kind of make it, get them off their angles and pass to make plays, get people on them from different really angles and different ways that we can get the ball outside and then try to work some quarterback run game.
All right, speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about the Boston College offense. I frankly have to admit to you, I did not think we would see a bigger quarterback than your guy, Tyree Jackson, but here comes Patrick Towles, about 10 pounds heavier than Tyree, not as tall, but the challenge is he's a big body who can run a little bit, transfer from Kentucky, he can throw. What are you seeing about his sort of ingraining into the Boston College offense through 4 games?
Well, I think he's a good fit for their offensive scheme. They like to use a lot of tight ends. They'll get in a lot of multiple sets, but they still, again, much like their defense, Coach Adazio believes strongly in playing physical football, and they're going to line up and they're going to come off the ball and establish a running game with you. But with that, play action pass is always a big part. But the thing about him watching their games that impressed me that I didn't know he had is the ability to scramble and run for first downs, and he's faster than what you may think, and much like Tyree Jackson does for us, there's a chance where all of a sudden something's not there and he's going to run it for 10 and keep the drive alive.
What is the challenge for your defense against a big physical offensive line, particularly coming off of such an outlying game plan that you had against Army, to shift back into the norm a little bit, but do it against a really physical team?
Well, again, you got to be physical up front and slow down the run game. Okay, and if you can slow down the run game, you get them in the passing downs. Play action's not as much as their plan then. And again, they've watching some, like in the game against UMass, they hit a couple deep balls on one play drives where they came on, whether it be off a turnover, a punt return, and they were able to strike quick. We got to be able to make them drive the field and to beat us, and be sound in normal down and distance situations.
All right, that's our Town BMW game preview of today's contest between the Bulls and the Eagles. Kickoff at 1 o'clock in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. You can hear it on ESPN 1520 and see it on ESPN3. We're not quite done with Coach yet. When we come back, we're going to introduce you to the Bulls' leading receiver, and we'll find out what Coach thinks about his outstanding tight end. Our feature on Mason Schreck is next on UB Football Insider.
Celebrate One Buffalo Day at UB Stadium on October 8th when the Bulls host MAC rival Kent State for their annual homecoming game. Fans be sure to arrive early for Stampede Square and a tailgate concert by legendary rocker Eddie Money. It's a fun-filled day the whole family is sure to enjoy. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m., but the excitement starts at 12:30. For tickets, call 877-UB-THERE or visit ubbulls.com. It's football, tailgating, live music, and a day celebrating One Buffalo.
Support the new Football Excellence Fund and help build a strong foundation for years to come. Go above and beyond by investing in the future of UB football today. Log on to bullsblueandwhite.com for more information and a list of Football Excellence Fund benefits.
This segment of UB Football Insider with Lance Leipold is brought to you by CEFQ. For all your banking, insurance, and investment needs, visit your local branch or go to cefq.com.
Welcome back to UB Football Insider with Lance Leipold. My name is Paul Peck. For the last 4 years since he came here as a high school quarterback, Bulls tight end Mason Schreck has learned how to play the position and played it well as he backed up Matt Weiser. Well, this year it's Mason's chance to shine. He is the Bulls' leading receiver and quarterback Tyree Jackson's #1 target. Let's meet the senior tight end from Ohio in this week's CEFQ Player Profile.
I'm Mason Schreck, senior tight end for the UB football team. I'm ready to embrace that role of being the main guy at the tight end position. I was blessed to come in here and to work behind guys like Jimmy Gordon, Alex Dennison, and Matt Weiser. And me and Matt we really embraced that role last year, being the sort of the dynamic duo that we were. And I'm just excited, to sort of change my role up a little bit this year and to be, the main guy and to take the younger guys under my wing and just, show them and lead them the right way. And Coach Leipold and Coach Kotelnicki do a great job of using the tight end in their offense. And, I'm just blessed to be in that situation because that's ultimately that's the upcoming role in the NFL.
Licata gonna throw, looks to the left, throws, touchdown! It's the world premiere of Shrek 6. Mason Schreck with his first college touchdown.
So that first touchdown was a big play in my career. But the most fun play was definitely the pass that I threw.
Wide receiver screen. Mason Schreck's going to throw it across to the field. Caught at the 10 by Campbell. Run out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Mason Schreck, the former high school quarterback, throws it across the field for the big gainer.
Just to be able to throw one more time, be 1 for 1 in your career, throwing the ball in college is pretty cool.
Last year, having Matt and Mason together, and Mason really learned a lot on the approach of the game and the offseason. Mason really did a good job of taking steps in his game, of getting stronger, catching the ball, and being an overall tight end.
Personally, I want to break the records that Matt set. You know, me and him had a long talk about that. We pushed each other like, no other two positions did. Now it's my turn, and now, sort of the chains have been broken off of me, so I'm sort of free now to just play my game. And team-wise, we need to get to a bowl game. Coach LEIPOLD and his staff are just constantly on us about that, and that's obviously the goal of our team. So we want to win as many games as possible and strive to get a MAC championship. We haven't done that since 2008, so I've seen a lot of ups and downs throughout my career here, and we just want to get back to that winning tradition. The foundation's been set from the seniors last year, and we just want to continue to build off that.
Coach, I thought Mason Schreck's 4th down catch in the 4th quarter might have very well been the play of the game, and it was a good throw by Tyree, but it took Mason bullying for the extra yard or two to get the 1st down, or it may be a different conversation.
Yes, it probably would have been. And Mason, I thought, had an excellent second half. Came up with some big catches for us, and really, again, a guy who's waited patiently for his opportunity to be the starter, be more of a go-to guy. Worked extremely hard from the end of last season through spring, and I think we're starting to see some of that.
How much did he learn from playing behind an NFL caliber guy and Matt Weiser, who was such a big part of your offense that Mason had to know that it was going to be his turn this year?
I think he learned a lot. They got along well. They competed against each other. I think there's little things in route running for a guy that wasn't a natural tight end when he came to UB. And there's a lot of things. So, once again, I think he's one of our guys, though he's a senior, is still got his best football ahead of him.
Yeah, Mason was a high school quarterback before he came to UB. Tight end's such an interesting position in all of football. How blessed do you feel to have had Matt Weiser and Mason Schreck, two guys both on the John Mackey Award watch lists coming into the season? I mean, they're hard to find, and you've had 2 of them in 2 years.
Yeah, very fortunate when we stepped into this situation to have those type of players on the roster. And it was very evident to us that when we looked at our roster a year ago, that one of our deepest offensive positions and most talented one was at tight end, and we tried to use those guys on the field together a lot at the same time. And like you said, there's a lot of schools in high school and even in college, they're not always using a tight end or an attached tight end the way it used to be, and it's becoming more of a hybrid position in the way offenses have evolved. So to have one with that size and the ability to go down the field, yet block and do the other things needed is definitely a big plus for us.
All right, Coach, well, thank you very much for the insight. Good luck later today against Boston College. Again, the Bulls with a 1 o'clock kickoff against the BC Eagles. We'll get the recap from you next week.
Sounds great. Thank you.
UB Bulls head football coach Lance Leipold wrapping up this segment of UB Football Insider, but we got much more coming up, including our top 5 plays in our Carubba collisions. UB Football Insider continues right after this.
Tenacity, ambition, purpose. Here, it's not just what we do, it's how we do it.
Celebrate One Buffalo Day at UB Stadium on October 8th when the Bulls host MAC rival Kent State for their annual homecoming game. Fans be sure to arrive early for Stampede Square and a tailgate concert by legendary rocker Eddie Money. It's a fun-filled day the whole family is sure to enjoy. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m., but the excitement starts at 12:30. For tickets, call 877-UB-THERE or visit ubbulls.com. It's football, tailgating, live music, and a day celebrating One Buffalo.
Welcome back to UB Football Insider. My name is Paul Peck. Because the Army Black Knights ran the ball so much last week, the Bulls had a total of 97 tackles. So as you can imagine, for this week's Carubba Collisions of the Week, we've got plenty to pick from.
Here are this week's Carubba Collisions.
First down for the Black Knights. Drive is on the move, as it usually is for Army. And this time it's an option to the right. Bradshaw with the pitch, then the Bulls stop it. Brandon Williams slices through and brings down the slot back. That was Tyler Campbell. It's going to be a loss of 2 back to the 20. Under center goes Bradshaw. Slot back in motion, and Bradshaw's going to throw. He's going to get hit, and he gets sacked. Khalil Hodge with his first career sack as a Buffalo Bull. Pitch left for the slot back, who is ripped to the turf. Brandon Crawford deep in the backfield flings Tyler Campbell back down on the field to the 33 for a loss of 7.
Go to UBBulls.com now to vote for your favorite Carubba Collision of the Week.
Well, we're not done with the defense yet. Because of their outstanding play, they get at least one spot in our top 5 plays.
It's time for the top 5 plays of the week. Number 5.
Bulls corners are playing very aggressive and very well in this game. And now it's an option to the right, and it's a pitch again. The ball's on the turf. It's loose. I believe the Bulls are going to have the fumble recovery, and the Bulls have got the football. It's a takeaway for Buffalo. Ishmael Hargrove comes up with the fumble recovery.
Number 4.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Double tight ends on the right-hand side. 3rd and goal from the 5. Shotgun snap. Jackson fade. End zone corner. Diving catch attempt. Touchdown! A diving touchdown by Kamadi Holsey, and the Bulls have cut into the lead. They now trail by 8 pending the extra point.
Number 3.
4th and 9 with 4:27 to go. Ball sits at midfield. Jackson awaits the shotgun snap, gets it, stands in the pocket, looks, throws down the middle, caught. Mason Schreck with a first down to the 40. He got it his right, and he bowled his way through the tackle of Xavier Moss to get the first down.
Well thrown with pressure in his face. Tyree Jackson answers the 4th down call.
Number 2.
3rd and goal from the 1. Tyree, quarterback keeper, into the end zone. Bullseye! It's a Buffalo touchdown!
What a drive by these Buffalo Bulls here in the 4th quarter, and they've taken some shots down the field. They've really got the Army Black Knights on their heels, and what a play.
Number 1.
So here it is, Adam Mitchison with the 33-yard field goal attempt to win it. Snap, spot, kick on the way, and it is good! And the Bulls have won it in overtime. Buffalo 23, Army 20. The entire Buffalo team goes and mobs Mitchison all the way back at the 20-yard line. What a comeback, what a win. Fire that cannon off one more time. The Bulls have their first win of the year.
Well, thanks for watching this week's edition of UB Football Insider. The Bulls will try to keep the momentum alive on a trip to Boston to take on the BC Eagles. Kickoff is today at 1 o'clock. You can hear the game on ESPN 1520. You can see it on ESPN 3. Then next week, the Bulls are back home to start Mid-American Conference play when the Kent State Golden Flashes come to UB Stadium. Kickoff is at 3:30. Make sure you've at least got your 2 tickets to Paradise, because Eddie Money takes the Stampede Square concert stage at 1:30. We'll see you next week on UB Football Insider.